When Mom came, I told her about Nick and the gifts, and she smiled and looked pleased. I got him a Walkman radio from both of us, she said. It would be like an MP3 player of the day.
Like what Skylar has.
I got him a Walkman radio from both of us, she said, so he can listen to his Mozart tapes while he jogs. His Mozart tapes? Was there anything about Nick that Mom didn't know? I waited for my slow burn of resentment to start, but tonight I had to kind of push it along a little bit. Do you know about Nick's wife and kid? I asked, watching her carefully. A bit. He doesn't say much. He and his wife were divorced when Blake was 6. His wife got custody. She was supposed to allow Nick to visit his son, but she took off illegally. Nick's been searching for the last 7 years and has never found a trace of them. I remembered the pile of wrapped and undelivered Christmas presents Nick had in his closet. She must have hated Nick a lot to have run off like that. Some divorces are really bitter, Marcus, and often without much reason. It's sad. Nick was probably rotten, I said, but that half-hearted unsureness was back in my voice. I don't believe Nick would know how to be rotten, Mom said. Then she smiled. So, how about you and I getting Christmas Eve started? Fine with me. First, we went out again, driving the 4 blocks to Jimmy Joe's Market to pick up our fresh turkey and oysters. He keeps the turkey for us till the last minute because we don't have room for such a big beast in our refrigerator. 22 pounds, he said, and a fine figure of a bird. We wished each other Merry Christmas and drove home. After Mom put the food away, she went to her room to change. I stood by the tree, staring around. I had the creepy crawlies again. There was a feeling in the room, an alien presence. I thought I saw a shadow move against the wall. Is anybody there? I whispered, peering into the corner. Of course, nobody was there. It was only the tree shape, dark and changing in the twinkling lights. Just quit it, Marcus, I said out loud. You're making your head crazy. There's nobody there. The thief is been and gone. Forget him. Have you started having conversations with yourself now? Mom asked, coming back in the room. Oh, just once in a while, I said. She'd changed into her raspberry-colored cords and her big, loose raspberry sweatshirt. Her black hair was tied back with a pink and silver ribbon. You look very nice, I told her, which was what I'd said to Angelica Trotter, but this time I meant it. Mom fixed her creamy oyster stew, which probably tastes so wonderful because we have it only on Christmas Eve. We sat across from one another at the table, and the thought of Nick upstairs alone in his little room drifted into my mind, and I made it drift out again. Mom pointed with her fork to the blue vase. What happened to Miss Coriander's roses? I'd pulled a few pieces of ivy from the backyard to fill the vase, but Mom is not dumb, and ivy does not look or smell like roses. Robbie took them, I said. He wanted to give them to somebody. Mom's eyes opened wide. A girl? Sort of, I said. Oh, well, I guess they went in a good cause. I lingered over my stew, making it last, not wanting to move on to the next part of our Christmas Eve ritual, the one where I go up to the attic and bring down the box of decorations for the tree. I usually don't mind the attic. It's half-floored, and we use it for storage. Where the planking ends, you can look beyond and down into the empty, cobwebby dark where the dust drifts between the studs and up into the shadowy peak of the roof. I've never been allowed to play up there. Your dad had plans for this, Mom told me once. We were going to have a rec room all paneled with a ping-pong table and an old jukebox. Your dad always wanted one of those jukeboxes so we could play old Donovan records and dance the way we used to. Donovan was our favorite. But of course, we never got the rec room or the jukebox. I wish they had. I wouldn't have minded going up into that kind of place. I don't usually mind this one either, but the way things had been going, I wasn't anxious to poke my head in anywhere dark and out of the way. Is it time to trim the tree? Mom asked after we'd done the dishes. I guess, I said. I'll get the flashlight. It wasn't in the kitchen drawer where we keep it. It has to be there, Mom. I saw it yesterday. You're not looking properly. I was. And it wasn't there. I checked the next drawer, pawing through the potholders and drawing cloths, then stood very still, staring out at the darkness beyond the kitchen window. The crazy thief had taken the flashlight, too. We'll find it sometime when we don't need it, Mom said, and I wondered if she knew we'd never find it and why, and if we were trying to protect one another from remembering that there'd been a stranger here prowling around inside our house. Can you make do with my pen light, she asked. When I nodded, she got it from her purse. I think I'll just come with you. Her eyes didn't quite meet mine. You'll be sneezing all night if you do. I said, that's prehistoric dust up there. Besides, all I have to do is reach in. The box is right at the top. As I climbed, though, she stood halfway up the attic steps, partly so I could pass her the big awkward carton down to her, and partly to make going into the attic easier for me. As I said, my mom is not dumb. I opened the hatch and shone the thin beam into the darkness. The moving light picked up the trunk that had been Dad's in college, the cedar closet where Mom keeps her heavy going-to-visit grandma coat, and the single-bed mattress and my old rocking horse, too dear for Mom to part with. The narrow shaft was no more than a small searchlight in the sky, so skinny, so nothing, making the dark around it seem deeper and more mysterious. I thought the box is right here, I called down to Mom. It's not. We must have moved it. I climbed up and onto the floor. There was a strange smell. What was that? Something I'd smelled before, something holy or of Christmas. Just the smell of the cedar closet? No time to stand here sniffing the dank air, not with the dark pressing against me and the small shuffles and creaks. There was the box of Christmas ornaments. I slipped the flashlight into the pocket of my t-shirt and was immediately in blackness, except for the square of light coming through the hatch. Around me, the attic seemed to breathe in and out and in and out. Mom's voice floated up. Did you find it, Marcus? Yes. I lifted the box, stumbling in my hurry to get out. Mom grabbed it as I eased it down the steps and immediately started to sneeze. See, I said, it's a good thing you didn't come up. We carried the box into the living room where the tree waited and where the dark was safely closed away. Mom has tapes of Christmas music, and we put them on and took out the old ornaments one by one. There were the pearl drops with half the purling wore off, the snowflakes I'd made in 3rd grade. Everything came with its own remembering. Remember when Grandma bought you this little horse, and here's the choo-choo train. I wouldn't even let myself glance at the corner where I thought I'd seen the shadow move. Is anybody there? Nobody. Nobody's there. The music moved around us, the choir voices building and soaring to their final hallelujahs. The angel was in her own small drawstring bag, cushioned in yellow tissue paper. I took her out. Your dad used to have to lift you up to put her on top of the tree, Mom said. I still needed the stool. When I clipped her on, her winged shadow spread across the ceiling like a blessing in church. In an hour, it would be Christmas. Shall we open those gifts, Mom asked, squeezing my hand. Yes, I said, but can I give you yours first? I think I'll die if you don't, she said. You'll never know how many times I was tempted to peer over and see what was behind the sheet. I took her arm. Come with me and close your eyes. I opened the door between the kitchen and the garage and put on the light. Stay here and keep those eyes closed, I warned as I whipped the cover off and wheeled her gorgeous handmade custom bike close. Now! I watched her face, the way her eyes widened and the joy in her smile. Oh, Marcus, are you going to tell me you made this beautiful thing entirely yourself? I stuck out my chest. It was nothing. Mom got on the bike and rode it around the garage, across the length and breadth of Australia. Then she stopped under the light to admire it a bit. I can hardly wait till tomorrow to try it. Let's ride before breakfast, okay? Okay. Before we went back in, she bent and kissed the handlebars and said, bye, bike. Sometimes Mom does a baby thing like that, and it always makes me laugh. Now we'll get your present from me, not that it can compare. She'd bought me what I suspected and hoped for, a complete tool set with everything in it that I could possibly need for a lifetime of bike making. Ratchets, sockets, screwdrivers, wrenches, pliers, hex set. The green metal carrying case had my initials in black, M.M., Marcus Mullen. Or Marcus Milardovich. I jumped up and hugged Mom before that last thought could take hold. Then I lifted Nick's gift from under the tree. He said we should open these with the rest, I told her. Mom read the card Nick had taped to her package, and I noticed she put it safely on the mantel before she tore off the foil wrap. I remembered that it said, "To Caroline, with love from Nick." The little plastic box inside held 4 tapes, or like CDs. A gold ribbon that slanted across the top said, "Dance Time," and a tag listed the tunes and the groups. I checked. The Grateful Dead, Big Brother and the Holding Company. Hey, were these the top names in your day? They sure were. I noticed that Donovan wasn't listed here and decided she'd told Nick that Donovan was Dad's and her favorite. I was glad he hadn't tried to jump in on that. "Here's Nick's gift to you," Mom said. It was a photograph of Mom's Christmas bike. So glossy, so sharp it could have been in an ad from Sports Illustrated or Bike World. It had been taken since I'd put on the campies. "I wasn't in on the entire secret," Mom said, "but I knew you were getting a photograph and that it had to be a rush job. Nick spent yesterday in the lab at school developing it and I guess doing the framing and matting." Oh. I ran my finger around the dark blue frame. The color was perfect, showing off the undertones in the black paint. That must have been what he was up to in the garage. That's why he didn't want me to tell you. He was taking this picture. I felt silly and something else, maybe ashamed. It was his camera had behind his back. I decided I owed Nick an apology. The neat label on the back said, "This bicycle built by Marcus Mullen as a gift for his mother at Christmas." Underneath was the date. Nick seems to label his pictures on the back, like any good photographer. Anne and Blake. Nick, Anne, and Blake. "I like it," I told Mom. She nodded. "It's beautiful. It really does the bike justice. He was going to give you a watch because he noticed that you didn't have one, but I told him that..." "What?" "Oh, that your dad's watch would be yours before long, and I asked him if he wanted to get you an inexpensive one to fill in till then, but he said no. He never wants to intrude on special things between you and your dad." She smiled at me in a teary kind of way and then said, "So I asked myself, why should you have to wait? You're old enough and sensible enough now. I decided you should have your father's watch this Christmas. It's time." She gave me a small gift wrap package. I opened the velvet box inside and took out the watch. "Put it on, Marcus." When I pulled the strap to its tightest, it fit my wrist. This was the size Dad's wrist had been at the end. I stood looking down at it, feeling very close to him. Mom touched my hair. "Okay?" I blinked the tears away. "Okay. Now, we're not going to be sad at Christmas. Let's open the rest of the things." I got a card with $20 in it from Grandma and Grandma Mullen. Grandma and Grandpa Mullen sent me 2 great-looking books, The K and The Whipping Boy. Aunt Charlie sent me a construction kit so I could make my own radio. On the print on the box said, "It plays! It's supersonic! It really works!" I decided Aunt Charlie had a lot of faith to think I could ever put it together. Miss Sarah and Miss Coriander had knitted matching sweaters for Mom and me, red with yellow diamond pattern. "Are we going to look spiffo or what?" Mom asked me, holding her sweater against her. She sat on the rug surrounded by torn wrapping and cards, but not Nick's card, though. It was special. I knew that, and I knew why. But I felt good anyway. Robbie had bought me a chef's hat and an apron that said, "What's cooking?" in big red letters across my stomach. He was right. It wasn't ordinary. "You certainly got a lot of nice things," Mom said. And I said, "Yeah, and I got stamps from Angelica. You know, the girl we met at the mall." "Well, Mom, are you sure you didn't take my roses? Angelica, huh?" Luckily, just then we heard the putt-putt of the big car in the driveway next door. I looked at my watch. Dad's watch. 10 minutes to 12, I said. Miss Sarah and Miss Coriander are off to midnight mass. The last tape was coming to an end with the readings from the Westminster Abbey, and Mom and I sat together listening to the old familiar words that will always mean Christmas. When the clock struck midnight, Mom put her arms around me and pulled me tight against her shoulder. Merry Christmas, Marky, she said. Merry Christmas, Mom.